Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. If you are able to keep your cameras on, we would love to see you. We also understand you may be in a situation where you can't turn your camera on. That's okay. Welcome, everyone. My name is Andy Engel, and I lead virtual public programs here at Reimagine. Welcome to our series, Everybody, Finding Strength in Our Struggle with Illness. A bit about Reimagine first for folks who may not know. Reimagine is a nonprofit organization catalyzing a uniquely powerful community. People of different backgrounds, different ages, different races, different sexual orientations, different gender identities, and people of faith, people of no faith, all coming together to support one another in facing adversity, loss, and mortality, and to transform life's biggest challenges into action and growth. Reimagine resources, support groups, workshops like this one today are free, sliding scale, and accessible. This is made possible by the support and generosity of folks like you. So for those who already made a tax-deductible donation when you registered for this event, thank you so much. Your gift will immediately support Reimagine's mission to help people of all walks of life transform the hard stuff into purpose and meaning. This gathering and this entire three-part series is centering the experience of folks who are living with serious illness and chronic disease. But it's also for everyone who have friends, family, and colleagues living with health challenges. What ways can we show up for them? For those who missed it, last week we gathered with Jeannie Blaustein, Reimagine's co-founder, and Wendy Wiedlock, a poet and a master teacher. They illuminated the sparks in the dark. And then we all had a chance to write in a very generative and accessible way. We have recordings from previous sessions in this series. My colleague Nicole Tan will paste a link in the chat where you can take a look at those. During our session today, if you have technical issues, feel free to send a note to either me or to Nicole in the chat privately. We might be able to help you. And we're recording this session. So everyone who registered for this workshop will get a follow-up email with links and with the recording to the video. Today, we are going to continue in a participatory spirit with Larissa Velez-Jackson. Larissa is a choreographer, a movement educator, and a multiple myeloma cancer survivor. Larissa lives in the Hudson Valley, not so far from me in New York, Lenape-Hoking. And I encourage you to get to know their persona, Dr. Absurd Joy. Dr. Joy is an ASMR influencer on YouTube. You can find Dr. Joy there. Lord knows we need more absurd joy these days. We need more doctors like Dr. Joy, who, in addition to drugs and medication, prescribe us with art, with serenity, with compassion, and with humor. Larissa and I met, I think, a year ago at the Creative Center, which is a fabulous organization in New York that hosts an Arts in Healthcare Training Institute. We were supposed to have this workshop a few weeks ago, but Zoom had other ideas. So I'm glad you're all here because we're flexible and persistent people, right? Larissa, you just completed your latest round of radiation treatment after another multiple myeloma relapse. You've also got a new shoulder. Congratulations. Larissa, we often introduce this concept of post-traumatic growth in our sessions. And for those who don't know, this is science and evidence that when we're facing struggle, trauma, challenge, there are opportunities for growth, for transformation, for self-knowledge, for learning. And at our first session in this series, the panel, we had Nitika Chopra, who lives with psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. She said that pain is the portal to her spirituality. And that felt very reimagine-y to me. And I'm curious if that expression, pain being a portal to spirituality, is something that resonates with you. What do you think, Larissa?
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much. And I do want to say about Dr. Absurd Joy, I think of, I'm a doctor like the way Dr. Dre or Dr. Pepper, not a real doctor. um, but yeah, sort of a doctor in spirit. And I like thinking about that, thinking about the mix master or something as a type of doctor. And to answer your question, oh my goodness, it is completely and utterly resonant with me. This last, I've had multiple myeloma on and off. We've danced together since 2019. And in this last relapse, which is maybe my fourth one, my fifth one, I've kind of lost count. It's an incurable blood cancer for those who may not have ever heard of the disease. Um, this last time around, I really felt like that this is a spiritual initiation. Like I'm going through an initiation process of some kind of my soul and going deeper into my life's purpose and things about my life that in my younger years, I maybe thought would be obtainable somehow when I became very old. like, like after I, achieved all the things in my career and I feel spent, I will finally do Tai Chi every day. Like I had this thought that like something would shift and this spiritual being that I would long to be would happen all the way over there. And, life definitely dealt me a very different hand and taught me something very different. And in order to kind of get through the difficulty, the stress, sometimes the violent, full on violent aspects of medical treatment, I have had to turn to the skills of creative practice and spiritual practice to find my way to myself, to find my way to like hope and light. And so, yes, I resonate with that statement utterly and completely. And especially in this moment where, surprisingly, when I agreed to doing this workshop, I was only supposed to be coming out of shoulder surgery. It wasn't even that clear that I was relapsing or I was relapsing to the degree that I am. And so, yeah, in this moment of about to go deeper into my treatments as well, I feel that 100%.
We're so glad you're here. And I'm going to let you continue, orient us. And I'm really looking forward to this experience.
Amazing. So I can speak to a little bit before we even just like start our moving and our physicality that, yeah, for me as a choreographer, as a teacher of fitness and of the creative arts and dance, um, to me, coming home to the body is like just the very it's like the ground upon which all the rest of life is able to happen. And I wrote some words. I'm just going to read them. It's kind of short, but I think the question that I'm trying to ask and answer is how can I leverage this body, this instrument of consciousness, to not only feel and to feel more fully, but to feel better, to live during any circumstance, and to connect to even while the body is quote unquote being ill and parts of the body are not operating so well. in terms of cancer, some parts of the body are sort of growing out of control and out of balance. But I think the thing I've really focused on is that the rest of the body is still really operating. The body is a miracle. And if I am alive, this body is still a miracle. Um, and so, yeah, connecting to like the depth of health and order and functioning that is the whole body, even while there might be a part of the body that's in need and needs support. And sometimes, especially for anyone dealing with illness, chronic illness, or, there are degrees where that goes into deeper and less, deep places. So today what I'm going to share are what I consider practices that really help to boost instant presence. These can be done from home. These can be part of a daily program. Sometimes these things, particularly when we get to the breathing, and some of maybe the more meditative practices, these are things that I'll use right in the cancer center before getting, IV treatment in my chair, or if I'm waiting too long at the doctor's office and things are, feeling intense, I can, do a very quick little micro meditation and kind of reset myself. So just to describe that, we'll be starting with some movement, and I'll put us through kind of a sequence of things, a little bit of a breath to start, a little bit of a tactile touch-based warm-up that can be touch on the torso, various ways that we can engage ourselves, our face, our head, our limbs. And these all boost also more like presence of our sense receptors and the tissue in our bodies, and it increases circulation. So it's and it can be just very accessible and gentle and fun. And then we'll do another little creative movement exercise. And then we'll get more toward the end into some of the micro meditations, which are a little more still. And I may have to omit. We'll see what I get to. I may have to omit an exercise or two here. But so any of these, and particularly this first one, is called the jellyfish breath. And with this one, you can be lying down, you can be seated, or you can be standing. And I'm just going to share an image from. So here is an image. What you are looking at right now is the respiratory muscle, the diaphragm. And you can see it looks like a big parachute. These bones here are the spine. The diaphragm is domed like a big parachute that sits at the sort of mid-bottom ribs, and the lungs and the organs are sitting on top, like the heart and the lungs are sitting on top of it. And it's very often compared to, it moves very similarly to a jellyfish, which really uses suction to swim. And we can think of the breath as almost like a type of a suctioning motion, sucking the breath in and releasing the breath out. So just giving you a little bit moment once again. We'll locate where this is on our bodies and tap around it too, to increase awareness of it from within. So there's the jellyfish on the right. Here's that beautiful domey parachute diaphragm. When it's in its more restful state, it's domed up. So I'm going to stop that share. And I'm just going to share now also a quick image, a video of jellyfish swimming. So you can just see that movement. And as we imagine our diaphragms in our bodies, there it is. So it is suction. It flattens down and then it parachutes up. Just taking a look at that. And then we're going to breathe a little more deeply and really imagine that little thing in our bodies as our diaphragm. I'm going to pause this now, and we're going to come back to it when we actually are doing the breath. Let me rewind it. So Okay, so the jellyfish breath. I'm going to stop my share and look at you all and then come back to this while we do it. So again, if it's more, you can be lying down. If anyone needs to be lying down for this, lie down, no problem. Sit or stand. So let's just for a moment find our ribs. Just go ahead and tap around. Find the most bottommost ribs that you can feel. We have the sternum, the soft part of the sternum, and then you're going to feel some ribs that kind of go downward on a diagonal there. So that's right around where the diaphragmatic respiratory muscle lives. So when you inhale and you take a nice deep breath in through your nose, the diaphragm moves downward. Almost think of it like a parachute. Not a par. The parachute is when it domes up. A trampoline, excuse me, like a trampoline with when someone stands on it and puts weight on it. So when you inhale, the trampoline moves downward. And when you exhale, the diaphragm moves back up into the ribs like a parachute shape. So there's a downward motion when you inhale. And that's what makes your belly expand when you inhale. So let's just try this. And we don't have to effort it too much. It's a muscle. So the more kind of slightly deep, a little more deeply and intentionally we give it, the muscle will start to do its job a little more thoroughly. There's not quite a sensation to it parachuting back up into the ribs, but I find there is more of a sensation on that inhale when it's deepening down toward the belly, and you'll feel it changes the pressure in the belly expands. That's the diaphragm moving downward on the inhale and then relaxing back in. Great, great. So take a pause on that. We're going to come back to that in a moment. So first, let's take a pause, and I want to just have us be able to somehow assess where we are at this moment before we begin a lot of things and then come back to assessing ourselves at the very end. So a really simple tool for that is to use the body map, a simple body map. I'm going to open an image of the body map and share it with you. Hang on here. Here is a simple body map. You can kind of see the body from back and front. And if you have something to write with and a pen, what I've done in other workshops is just have someone, you can draw your version of either a stick figure version or just a very quick rendering of a body map in your notebook or on a piece of paper. Now, if you're someone who maybe doesn't connect to this idea, would prefer to just write, really, you can also do that. Whatever feels more accessible or comfortable to you, to just capture what are some of the sensations present right now in this moment. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share of that body map and show you the absolutely awful rendering drawing. There's my little Kind of look somewhere between an alien and like Sasquatch person. My little alien Sasquatch rendering here. So go ahead and do your own. And then just for a moment, like close your eyes if that's comfortable. If closing your eyes doesn't feel too comfortable, you can just kind of soften your gaze and look somewhere that feels pleasurable to look. And just kind of bring your awareness inward. And what's present for you right at this moment in your body? And you can note it on your body map. You can write it down just as words, or you can also, so you can draw on it. You can write words. You can only write words, let's say, or draw any drawing. And this is just sort of soft data for you. Like, and this type of practice also is something that's felt important to me, especially as medicines and treatments can start to really alter one's sense of themselves. It started to feel really important for me to track, well, what are the constants that allow me to know me, aside from whatever meds are doing? So a practice like this was also part of me getting to just understand or hold a sense of myself. And then the more you do it, maybe you get to say, oh yeah, there is this thing that I feel that is me. um, So we can also, if anyone would like to share anything in the chat, we can just start to jot down a little bit if we'd like to, what some of the things that are top of mind. I'll share, throw something in there, and then we can look at how it shifts. And feel free if you feel like, I mean, I'm also putting like the things that are hurting me right now, but I feel okay sharing that. But feel free, you do not have to. I did just notice that my tongue was thirsty, which, hey, good. I should take a sip of water. Mm. Good. Thank you for sharing. It's great to see these folks. Yeah, there's great. And thank you, Vicky, for sharing. Breathing exercises are everything for you, stiff neck. Okay. Great. And folks can still keep dropping those things in. So that was our first assessment. And so now we're going to take just a little bit to actually just be with the jellyfish breathing. And then the next exercise that we will do with the jellyfish breathing, if anyone is able to lie down, we are going to take, this will be only one moment that I'll actually facilitate something that is lying down for anyone that can lie down. So if you feel like you might lie, and you could lie on a couch or a bed, it doesn't even have to be a yoga mat or on the floor per se. So I may just have this moment of time where we're just doing the jellyfish breath. and I play the jellyfish movie, for those of you who might want to lie down for the next exercise that comes with it, go ahead and lie down now. If lying down is not accessible to you, I suggest you just do the jellyfish breath seated, and then I'll facilitate what the next exercise could be from your seated position, if you're not going to lie down. So, and I will change to my lying down station over there. Okay. So, in order to play the jellyfish movie, though, I will stay here for that part. So, if you're going to lie down, you can. At this moment would be a good time. If you're seated, take your seat. I'm going to go back to the beginning of that jellyfish breath, of the jellyfish movie. Share it. Okay, so here we are, folks. From where you are, taking a nice breath in through the nostrils, sensing that diaphragmatic muscle expanding downward toward your pelvis as you inhale, and then just letting it easily release as you exhale. It releases itself, no effort involved. Inhale. In a yogic-like fashion, you might even create a little bit of a whisper sound in the throat as you breathe in and breathe out. This might give you even a little more of a connection to that oceanic feeling. Having a little bit of friction in the throat can also increase the sense of the breath, our connection to the breath and the depth of the breath with just that little bit of a whisper in the throat. I'm going to now play some sound. And we're just going to continue with this jellyfish breath. Eyes can be closed, drawing your awareness inward, or eyes can be softly open. Kind of easing your eye focus so it's not sharp, it's just diffuse. So even just this jellyfish breathing could be a micro meditation. Set a timer, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And you really experience the depth of movement of that respiratory diaphragm. So I'm going to go to the floor now, so that those that are lying, we can go to the second part, adding a little movement to this. And those that are seated, I'll describe the movement. So if you're lying, knees can be bent and you can just stand your feet on the ground or on your bed or on your sofa. If you're seated, you will also perhaps have your feet flat on the ground, sitting up tall as you can on your bones of your seat, your sitting bones. So really keeping this metaphor of the ocean, really thinking of ocean waves. The crashing of the waves onto the shore is the inhale, and the exhale of the jellyfish breath is the motion of the water coming back to sea. Right? So we can add this gentle rocking of the pelvis as you inhale and the diaphragm moves toward your pelvis, toward your feet. You might feel a pressure into your sitting bones. And as you exhale, the top of your pelvis can tilt back. Your sitting bones and tail curl up a little bit. There's the water kind of flowing back to sea. As we inhale, we lengthen along the mat with our sitting bone. As you exhale, rock the top of your pelvic bones back. It kind of presses your lower back toward the mat. So this is called tilting your pelvis forward and back. Inhale, the diaphragm expands down like that trampoline. Exhale, it relaxes up into the. So if you're seated, describe the seated version of this would be tilting back as you exhale and kind of tipping forward as you inhale. So I'm demonstrating that visually now. And you can do this really tiny. It can be a micro motion of your pelvis, or it can be a little bit bigger. You can really play around with it. Let your breath last however long each cycle lasts, and the movement really follows that length or that pattern. Good. And if you notice, those that are seated, kind of notice that my head, the top of my body isn't taking a big motion. The head is just sort of still perched a little bit up, and the rocking motion, not like it's isolated toward the pelvis, but it's really just happening here at the pelvic bowl. A little rock and a little rock. Yes. Good. Especially those that are seated, you can rest on those so you're not doing so many. It's a little more active for the seated folks than the lying down. I'm going to give one more variation for the lying down folks now. So here is a more passive. So when we have our feet flat and we're doing this, I consider this to be kind of active. We're going to do a different way now, where if you're lying, you can take your hand, let's say your left hand on top of your left kneecap, your right hand on top of your right kneecap, dangle your feet. And we can do this even more passively by rocking the legs back toward the torso. That's the exhale. And the inhale, we rock the legs away. So we're rocking. It's the same pelvic rock as before, but it's now even utilizing the weight of the legs. Those that are seated, I'm not sitting in a chair at the moment, but I think I can do it from right here anyway. If you're seated in a chair and it feels comfortable to you, you can take Hands clasped around one leg. And do a few with rocking, almost bringing head toward knee a little bit. And then tilting it forward and allowing you to come upright. Exhaling. Inhaling. Good. You'll do a few on one side, maybe 5 or 6, and then you can do 5 or 6 on the other side. Good. So about 5 or 6 one side, 5 or 6 other side. If you're seated, those lying maybe have done perhaps about 10 total. So the last part of this, and still really utilizing this oceanic imagery, this water imagery. If you're lying down, perhaps you might now hug your legs toward you, like so. If this feels comfortable to sustain, it could be knees together, it could be knees apart, it could be only one leg at a time. If hugging in 2 is too much, right, you can do that. But we'll be in this kind of sustained, passive stretch for the lower back with the weight of the legs coming towards you. There's not quite a perfect equivalent for that seated, so those seated are just going to remain perhaps tall and easy in their seat. And what we're going to do is add sound to this jellyfish breath. And what we can think about the sound, the oceanic imagery part, is I really think of a little surfer riding a wave, right? So we inhale, and during the exhale, we're going to let out a gentle hum. And it's like a little surfer riding that wave all the way to shore until their little ride is done and it kind of fades out. So we breathe in. Feeling that really natural fade out of this. Finding your most comfortable tone, effortless kind of comfortable tone. Still that deep jellyfish breath in. That's the size and the power of the wave. That deeper breath in, and then let's relax the vocalizing. And just breathe normally for a few breaths. However your breath wants to be, but we'll still just be present with it. And I think this is always a good idea with breath exercises. We've just done some very pointed breath exercises, and afterward, as it's done, we still kind of stay watchful and present as the body then breathes as it wants to. It creates a really nice, gentle transition. And then even if your eyes were closed, as you open your eyes and you return back to your space, you can give that a moment too. Looking around, scanning the space. Okay. So now, ooh, fun. Let's go back. Take your time, of course. I'm just facilitating, but do as what feels good to you. But I'm going to suggest that we come back to our, oh, here. Hello. I'm going to suggest that we come back to our body map now. Let me down here. Let's come back to our body map or our writing. Let's connect and see what is present for us now. Again, you can draw over your Great. Okay, I'm looking in the chat a little bit as people write. Yes, I will. I'll definitely share that jellyfish video and the link to the music with Andy. We can share all the things that are in the class. Absolutely, Cheryl. I'd love to. Um, so, if anyone would like to share in the chat what is present now, if anything shifted from the first drawing or just what is now, I'm sure it's maybe even instead of maybe things that are changing, adding, whatever it is, everyone's experience is correct in their own. And if anyone would like to speak into the room, I think that would be great too. And maybe Andy or Nicole can help with with that. Mm.
If folks do want to speak, you're allowed to unmute, but I would just suggest if you just raise your hand physically or use the hand symbol so Larissa can call on you.
Okay, great. It's me. Okay, good. Ah. Then I'll just read one from the chat. Jonathan shares expansive belly, jittery legs, release in the neck. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, yes, Miriam, go ahead and unmute.
So I had a question. So my shoulder doesn't feel as tight anymore, but I
Mm.
was wondering if with the breathing techniques, I didn't even realize, should we visualize bringing awareness to that body part so it kind of like goes there? Because I feel like what you said our bodies are like miracles, so we're like healing our own body. But like I'm kind of thinking, wait, am I supposed to do that when I'm doing the breathing exercise? Cause I don't feel it as tight no more.
Yeah, Miriam, I love your question. Thank you for asking it. And you know what?
Mhm.
I love what happened. No, I don't think you have to. I would say, no, you don't have to go thinking about healing the parts, right? And in fact, it worked beautifully that you just earnestly did the exercise and a shift happened. I think when we go maybe that route, the body has such innate wisdom that is so beyond our comprehension. Let the body take care of it. Yes, I love that question. I'm so glad you brought it up because, and I will tell you, this is something as a teacher, as someone who's trained in a lot of things, and as a dancer, one of the worst traps we can get into is going into the body to try to fix. It's something as you become more mature as a teacher, you have to unlearn doing that. It's the thing not to do. So thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, yes, 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 yes. Great. And I'm glad to hear that your shoulder feels better. Um, it makes me want to share. I wasn't going to share this at first, but I'll share mine. So my drawing changed. Oh, I don't know if you can see. Around my low belly are big rings like the rings of Saturn. And I feel like there's spaciousness at the bottom of my ribs and my diaphragm opened. I feel like I experienced an opening that I have not really felt. Um, and all my points of tension melted. They're not disappeared. I'm not cured. But my points of tension that were top of mind, top of body experience are like in the background. And so that is something I kind of quietly hope happens, but I'm never looking for it to happen. But when it does, I'm like, okay, good. Yeah. I'll take it. Um, anyone else? Question from Cheryl. Do you mean we shouldn't focus on the areas that are bothering us when we do this? A good question. You know, okay. I would almost say not because I think, and this is as someone who, I mean, there's pain that I'm experiencing right now. Um, if I focus on the pain, I would say the pain increases and starts to become the way I'm orienting my body around my painful spots, and I become overly identified with them. So I would say that in earnest, actually, and it's not disassociating actually, because you're deepening. All we've done in this exercise is deepen into a function that our body has. We're deepening into, we are embodying anatomy principles and we're bringing our presence to them. So we are allowing the nervous system to shift and to calm when we do this. Literally, that is happening. And we're bringing our body into another healthy function that is existing along with the things that might be bothering us. So they get put into a perspective. So I would say, yes, in earnest, going into the exercise and being with that is probably a better approach than focusing on a painful place. And then we eventually get to like integrate the painful place like back in. And there are I'm thinking of two forms of healing practice that I seek out. One of them is biodynamic craniosacral therapy is one, and somatic experiencing is another. Two different forms that kind of overlap in some of their things. They're also very different, but they do exactly what we're describing. So it's kind of bringing your awareness like into and out of areas that are uncomfortable and coming back in and breathing. And you do this with a practitioner with you. So anyway, didn't want to get like totally on that, but I think it relates a little bit. So do you mean we should focus on that? Yes, it gets worse. So we should be focusing on the breathing. Yeah. Focus on the breathing. In all of these things that I'll share, it's a moment to like be with your body in this other way, and you can be fully with your body in doing those things, and it creates a shift. The therapies were bio. Oh, I think I'm writing this to Andy. Let me write this to everyone in the chat. How do I get to everybody? Andy, meeting group chat. Oh, here we go. Biodynamic craniosacral therapy is one. And craniosacral therapy is about balancing your cerebrospinal fluid. Somatic experiencing is the other. And somatic experiencing is kind of like a somatic therapy approach, a body-based approach to trauma healing and therapy. And you do that one-on-one with a practitioner. I wrote biodynamic, but it's biodynamic in the chat. Biodynamic, craniosacral therapy, and somatic experiencing. Okay. All right. So, yay, there they are. Thanks, Andy. So now let's move on. Oh my goodness, we got 15 minutes. I think we can do. I want to get to the tactile stuff. So there's the mic. Well, this was already, honestly, I had 2 other micro meditations prepared, but we already did one with this jellyfish breathing. I want to do some tactile work because I think this is a little bit more active and it's super accessible. So again, those that are lying down can remain lying down. Those can remain seated. And those who would like to be a little more active, standing could be good for a good portion of these. And I will be playing a little bit of flamenco music. And, we can be slightly a little bit more active. So let me share sound. I will demonstrate. No, I'm not trying to open a file. Beep. Okay, you hear this music, right? Okay, good. No. Those that are standing, go ahead and stand. Or those that want to stand. And those that are seated, these can be modified any way you like. But we are going to start at the center of our bodies, everybody. We're going to start at the belly. Up your right side and down your left. So we're going to follow the digestive patterning, the pattern of the digestive organs. So we're going to tap. There's a couple of different types of tapping you can do. Like kind of like a hand pat. You can do fingertip. I did just get over shoulder replacement surgery, so you're going to see my one arm is going to tire and not be able to do all the stuff. Now, bring in your jellyfish breathing. Oh, have fun all around the belly. Oh, I realize this tool I use a lot for my right arm is I use my little mallet here. Okay, so now we're going to take this to the chest. Again, a circle. So we're circling around the heart. Now feel free to turn your head and feel the stretches that occur, like from collarbone to chin as you turn. Oh, make sounds. Sorry that I just can't help it. You're gonna hear me. Good. Now we can have a little face yoga moment with this, where if we're tapping and we raise the head, we can give little kisses to the ceiling. Feel that? It's an incredible stretch. Little kisses. And we can do that with the head up and look slightly to one side and give little kisses. These are incredible stretches, very rejuvenating. Do only 3 or so on one side and do maybe 3 or less on the other. Puckery cheeks, puckery lips, I mean. Okay, great. So now we did the diaphragm, right? We can go into the diaphragm area You might be able to do it with 2 hands. I can't do it post-surgery with this other side. So we tilt a little bit to the side, getting that diaphragm, and honestly, you can get a little bit the back gently in a light little fist. Be gentle. You'll feel there are sensitive areas back there, and your body will tell you, yeah, careful. Oh, great. And you can do the other side here. My little mallet. Oh. Okay, beautiful. Now, from here, kind of locating the side seam of your body, we're going to go down the outside of the legs, up the inside. So you can do this from your chair down the outside of the legs. Good. If you are standing, you can actually get to those hardy gluteal muscles, those muscles that kind of propel us out of chair and sort of forward in space. The hardy glutes, you can, if you're lying down, you can lie on your side and get those glutes. You can do it with an open hand, or you can do soft, kind of thumb side of the fist. Ooh. Good. We'll do the other side. Mallet. Good. I'm feeling it also like that I want to go down the side of the leg a little bit with it. So just following what your body wants, what your body calls out for. Okay, so we're going to finish that with a little like leg wiggle and just patting all around. This is reminding me, in my Smart Body Fitness that I teach, doing these little shimmies and then getting into a little samba afterward. We're just about there. I'm feeling the samba coming up. Okay, so now you can even just take that little relaxing kind of shimmy. Just a little gentle shake. Good. Oh, our timing is good. We will have time for a micro meditation. We're going to now just do the face. So we can come closer to screen if you like. So with face, there's a few different types of ways to touch. If you feel like you need to wash your hands or, what do you call it? Sanitize your hands, go ahead. Go ahead, there's time. You can do that and come back. I did right before class. So one of the things we can think about is, let me stop the music for this as we do face. So there's a few different, it's just so nice to learn a couple of different modes of touch. So as you saw with the bigger taps on the body, we did fingertip, right? We did fingertip, we did the open hand, and we did gentle fist. When we do the face, we have cheekbones, jaw. Let's just locate sort of like jaw as an important bony landmark, cheekbones as an important bony landmark, and then the eyebrows, right? And so the first one, we're just going to do this little cling, like your skin is going to cling and then release, cling and then release, cling and then release. And so we can do that from the nose, closer to the nose, mid, and you can see it's bringing circulation to my face. You're seeing my cheeks are getting rosy. Yes, we can do that on the jaw. Cling, release, cling, release. Bringing circulation, bringing gentle touch. Here we can go even to that top of the jaw, and even bring a few circles. Let's do the cling release. You might start to feel like the muscles of your faces also start to relax in relation to what's happening, and you might start to feel nice. Good. So that's the cling release. And now we have a little more of a pinch. So we're going to start the pinch at the eyebrow. Actually, take the eyebrow, pinch, release, pinch, release, pinch, release, pinch, pinch, release. Try to relax all the other muscles of your face as you do this. So it's important that you start to really notice, what is getting stretched, what is getting a little bit of a change, and what is also getting a signal to relax. So I did about 3 on the one side. We could do 3 to 5. Let's do 3 to 5 on the other side. Post-surgery, I'm going to use the same hand, but normally you would use the corresponding hand to that side. I'm going to use my left hand still. Pinch, release. Pinch, release. Pinch. Good. And so then we could also then do like both sides together, but let's do that pinch release to that same cheek. Oh, what's amazing, and you could do it this way or this way. I personally come into contact with how tight those muscles actually are. 3 to 5. Only as hard as you can feel a slightly welcome release, not crazy hard. And now when you go to do the chin, it could be a shape like the thumb under the jaw, and then the other finger kind of creating a little arc like that. Doot, doot, doot. Little pinch. Releasing if there's muscles that are in a little bit of spasm or tight when we're under stress. These muscles actually do tighten and spasm. If we have been bedridden at all, and in fact, just after surgery, just being bedridden for a few days, I found I needed to really go back into these exercises because my face was kind of changing immediately after just a little bit more bedridden time. Great. So we have that cling release, we have pinch, and then we have like various aspects of gliding. And you can even just be intuitive about it. Gliding along, gliding. The forehead glides are amazing too. Gliding from eyebrows up. And with any of these motions that we're doing, a great way to allow it to actually go into the lymph and drain down into the rest of the body is to take what you're doing and go behind the ears and down the neck. So just making sure by the end, especially in any of your glidings, like let's say if you glide and then you go behind the ears and down. Behind the ears, down the sides of the neck, avoiding the front where the thyroid is, kind of like going to the sides of center. Good. Okay, we're going to finish with a super accessible, easy micro meditation after this. So, there is a tantric meditation where it requires a mudra, which is heels of the hands together, pinky fingers together, and thumbs. And this is a beautiful symbol of a lotus flower opening. And that lotus is your heart center. So now one thing that I find is this can feel a little intense to do like in the middle of like a subway platform or like the doctor's office when you're nervous to start like, really opening up your Your lotus flower. So a really simple one, and I literally used it last week when I was really stressed at the cancer center. I did this way. So I'm going to give you a very like a layperson's version. So I used one hand, and also probably because of my surgery too, but I used one hand to create what I felt like was the bud of a flower. It could be a rose, it could be a tulip, whatever is your flower of choice. And I found that this one felt a little easier that I could do very inconspicuously in a public space, right? So, again, if you want to go in your full lotus, you can do this, right? The heart lotus, or you can have your own little bud, a flower. And you can go back to your jellyfish breathing, right? Where you inhale, but this time as you inhale, you also feel the bud of the flower expand. And the buds, the petals, are called bhavas, and they are the emotional moods or the emotional states that dwell within your heart. And it's about breathing in and being with all that is in the heart. When you breathe out, it closes a little bit. When you breathe in, so you're just feeling with your breath the heart center expand. Maybe you're making contact with more of your feelings. Maybe there might be sorrow, there might be anger, but you can dwell with it in a kind of present way and then let it release. Just being with what is dwelling in the heart. And then, as with all of them, when you release that, perhaps just still be a little bit present with your body finding its own breath, whatever breath it has after that, whatever breath rhythm, I should say, the quality it has. And you can sort of slowly emerge out of that. So that's a little micro meditation that you can do for 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, that you can do anywhere. And we do have a minute if anyone wants to jot down even for themselves, okay, what, that felt like, or what's present for you, or if you'd like to share. Can you do the lotus heart again? Yes. So the lotus heart is the heels of the hands together, the pinky fingers touching, and the thumbs touching. And with this one, if you really take your time, like let's say you're going to go slowly, it can begin with the lotus pointing down. And then as you are expanding further and further into your breath, the lotus starts to really expand. And you can really, in this one, you can really imagine all the bhavas, or all of the petals and the various moods that are dwelling within your heart at the moment. It's almost like all the petals are starting to open up and reveal themselves to you. Yeah, so that's the one in the heart lotus mudra.
Larissa, thank you for this spa day that you have gifted all of us. Show some
Yay!
love, we show some love to Larissa, whether it's on camera or in the chat. So grateful to you.
Thank
This,
you.
I loved how you ended with the micro meditation with the lotus flower, because I don't know if you remember when we had our first conversation, I talked about post-traumatic growth, and I said, there's this scientific, psychological research on post-traumatic growth, but there is ancient wisdom, including that of from the Buddhist teachings. Thich Nhat Hanh, the late great Vietnamese monk, articulated that um, no mud, no lotus. Sometimes we have to get in the mud and struggle with this pain in order for something to grow. And I felt like we all achieved together some kind of learning and growth together. So grateful to you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for reminding me of that and bringing that in as well, Andy. It's true. It is a spiritual initiation. It can be a portal to that trouble, crisis. Exactly. No mud, no lotus. Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you.
So before we go, I did want to let you all know about this opportunity that we have. Um, we want to offer you a first look at something new from Reimagine. It is a safe and inspiring social space to transform loss and adversity into meaning and growth. We want you to give it a test drive if you're interested. The platform is still in beta. It is our growth journey platform, but it's built with care. It's a place where you can continue your Reimagine experience. This site emphasizes social journaling. We did a bit of journaling today, drawing on our body map. And through this kind of writing, it allows you to express feelings, track your moods, and connect with others. On this growth journey platform that Reimagine is creating, you can share your own journey through guided prompts. And that journey could include dreams, could include creative projects, small, sweet steps towards growth and transformation. And you can engage with the stories of others as well and hold space for others. In the works, we've got pathways that we're developing for this platform, led by experts in the field. And they're also designed for specific groups. So if you're interested in being one of the first users of this platform, please let us know in the exit survey. Very important. Nicole will paste this link in the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to know how we can improve. We want to know what your interests are. So please complete this survey, and there in the survey, you can elect to be a beta tester too. And again, thank you for showing up today. And to those of you who already donated to Reimagine, thank you. As part of the survey, there will be a question about supporting our efforts. So if you want to take that opportunity to do it there, please do so. Larissa, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being with you all today. And thank you so much, Andy. And thanks to Reimagine for all that you do.
Have a good day, everyone. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.